If you are a leader who wants to get more done in less time, I'm about to teach you the strategy that we have taught thousands of entrepreneurs and executives so that they can perform better and get more done on a daily basis.
What would be possible for your life and your business if you became the best version of you?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So pumped you're here today. Today, we're going to talk about 3 steps to controlling your calendar, how you can get more done in less time, how you can optimize your output so that you can perform better on a daily basis. This strategy is something that I've taught our health clients in the health business that I run. I've taught the business consulting clients that I'm able to serve. And all of these leaders find that they are able to perform significantly better on a daily basis because they are controlling their time. They are controlling their ability to create more output on a daily basis. I hope these tools can help you too. Let's dive in. There's 3 steps. 3 steps that you need to implement on a daily basis that I've found that works for me and has worked for our clients that will allow you to get more done in less time. But the first thing I need you to understand before we dive into the 3 steps is this. It's the principle that drives all of this. It's that winners control their calendars. Losers allow their calendars to control them. I'm going to say that again. Winners control their calendars. Losers allow their calendars to control them. I firmly believe that if you don't take control of your time, if you don't take control of your calendar, your time will control you. You will not be able to produce the output you want. You will not be able to get more done. You will always find yourself asking, how do I get more time back? I wish there was more time. I never have enough time to get what I want to get done when I need to get it done. If you've ever found yourself saying that, it's because your calendar is controlling you. You're responding to things. You're responding to time. You're responding to responsibilities instead of you controlling your calendar. Let's talk about how you can start to control your calendar so that you can be able to be a winner. It's these 3 steps. Number 1, let's prioritize. If you're taking notes, write it down. Prioritize. First step that you need to take in order to control your calendar and to produce more output on a daily basis in less time is to determine what is most important. What are your actual priorities? If everything's a priority, if everything's important, then nothing is important. First off, we have to determine what those priorities are. What are the things that are most important for you to get done today that will move you forward? And so the exercise I have our clients do is the same thing that we have our businesses do at the beginning of each quarter, is we have them to determine 3 big rocks for their day. Sometimes for our business clients, it's 3 to 7, but for daily action for our individual clients, we tell them to determine 3 big rocks or 3 big priorities that you're going to accomplish in your day today that will move you forward. So you need to determine what are the 3 most important things that are going to move the ball forward for me today. So prioritize, determine what is most important. What are the 3 biggest things I need to get accomplished so that you can focus on those things. Again, if you don't prioritize, then everything becomes a priority and you have no longer the ability to pick what you want to focus on. And I'm sure you guys have seen the analogy. If I try to fill a bucket with small rocks first, and then I put the big rocks on top, often it's really hard to fit all of the things that I want to. But what happens is if I prioritize the big things first and I put these 3 big rocks into my schedule first, all of the little rocks still find a way to get around those big ones. It's like brushing my teeth. I'm not going to not brush my teeth, but I'll be honest, there's times where I brush my teeth in the car, or I'm not going to not eat. Sometimes I've eaten while driving somewhere, or I've eaten while taking a call, or I'm eating like in the car on the way to a meeting. Like I'm going to find a way to fit those little things in. But if I don't prioritize the big ones, they won't happen. So number 1 is prioritize. If you are going to get more done in less time, you have to prioritize. You have to pick what is most important. Number 2, plan. Once you have determined your priorities, you've determined the 3 big rocks of the number 1, 2, and 3 most important things for you to get done. You need to now plan your day around those things. And this has 2 steps. First off is you're going to take those 3 rocks and you're going to place them into your calendar. You're going to use an app like Apple Calendar or Google Calendar or a paper planner if you're a more old school person, and you're going to place those big 3 rocks onto your calendar. You're going to say, hey, my workout, if that's your number 1 priority for the day, you're going to place it on your calendar. Or getting this presentation prepared, that's my big rock for the day. I'm going to place that on my calendar. Or taking my wife on a date, that's my big rock for the day. I'm going to place it on my calendar. Those are the 3 important things. I'm going to place them on my schedule to make sure those are scheduled first. I'm going to schedule around those things because those are the big priorities for the day. That's part one of plan, is actually applying the big rocks. And part two is leaving no white space. What does that mean? It means you're going to take all of the rest of the time on that calendar and you're going to fill it in as well. So you've placed your 3 big rocks on the calendar, and then you're going to take every other minute of the day and make sure it's accounted for. From the time you wake up, let's say you get up at 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m., you're going to wake up, and you're going to go all the way to when you plan on going to bed, and you're going to make sure there's no open gaps. Does that mean you got to be working the whole time? No. Maybe you schedule a 2-hour gap for rest and relaxation. Maybe you schedule an hour gap for dinner. Maybe you schedule an hour gap for a walk. Like, you can do whatever you want. This doesn't mean work nonstop. This means you're going to get intentional about how you're using every minute of your day, because the reality is, if you're not intentional, there's a lot of wasted time. Even just the switching costs you time. If you're wondering, what am I doing next? What should I accomplish next? Let's go look at my to-do list. No, you've just wasted time deciding what you should be doing. Instead, you should have already determined that. You can jump right into the next priority. So number one is prioritize. You're going to pick what's most important. You're going to pick those 3 big rocks. Number 2 is you're going to plan. Is you're going to schedule the big rocks, and you're going to schedule everything else around those big rocks so there's no white space left. There's no open space. So you have controlled every minute of your calendar. You've determined, I am taking control, and I'm going to determine how I utilize my time, and I'm going to be as efficient as possible. So I prioritized, I've now planned. Number 3 is perform. What does that mean? It means I'm going to now execute the plan. I'm going to perform the plan. I've already determined what's important. I've already determined when I'm going to do these things. I've created a plan for those things of what's important and what I use the rest of my time for. Number 3 is perform. It is on you now to be disciplined to following your calendar, to be disciplined to sticking to the schedule. There's no magic in planning and prioritizing if you don't actually perform the plan. If you don't execute the plan, you've just wasted your time. And I see this happen with a lot of leaders we coaches do an incredible job of prioritizing. Okay, I picked my big 3 rocks. Do a great job of planning. I put the big rocks in. I filled in my calendar, and then they don't actually perform. The alarm goes off in the morning and they said they were going to get up at 5:30. Just snooze it, and it ruins their whole schedule. Or, I don't feel like working out. Maybe I'll work out later. They ruin their whole schedule. I don't feel like making those calls right now. And they don't do it then. They ruin the whole calendar. They ruin the whole plan, and they wasted all of that time. The magic happens when you actually perform the plan. You execute and you have the discipline to perform the plan. So let me recap this, and then I'm going to give you some tips on how to best navigate this and why this is so important, some extra benefits. Number 1, I've prioritized. I've picked what's most important. I picked my big 3 rocks for the day. Number 2 is I planned. I've taken the big rocks and I've placed them on the calendar, and then I filled in the rest of the white space so I know exactly how I'm accounting for every minute of my day. Number 3 is I've performed, is I've executed the plan. I followed through on my commitments. These are the big 3 steps to controlling your calendar. But here's a couple things you need to understand. Number 1 is, if you are like me and you are a very driven, disciplined person, this exercise can cause you to overfill your calendar, to overcommit yourself, to stack calls back to back to back to back to back and see how much can I fit in one day. And the reality is you're going to overschedule yourself. And you're not going to create margin, and you're going to stress yourself out, and you're going to burn yourself out. And so my encouragement for you is to schedule some margin. If you feel like a call is going to take 45 minutes, maybe block it off for an hour, just so you have some room. If you feel like it's going to take you 30 minutes to get ready, maybe book it for 40 minutes. If you feel like a drive is going to take you 30 minutes, maybe add another couple minutes. Why? Because number 1 is you don't want to burn yourself out and overdo it. Number 2 is, and more importantly, if you don't schedule margin, you can become so stuck and so selfish, focused on your own things, that you forget about the people around you. And I've been guilty of this when I stacked calls on calls on calls on calls. Is I would get to an end of a call and I'd be talking to a friend, or I'd be talking to a client, or I'd be talking to somebody I care about. And we would start to get into semi-emotional conversation where I needed to support them. I needed to love on them, but I had to end the call and say, hey, sorry, I've got another one. Because I did not schedule margin, and I had to move on from a potential impact situation because I had scheduled myself too close. Same thing has happened as I would walk into a gas station and I'd be in such a hurry that I got to get to the gym immediately, or I'm going to be late. I'm going to get off my calendar, that I walked by someone that I could have prayed for, I could have encouraged, I could have loved on, and I missed an opportunity for impact because I was so stuck in my ways. And so my first encouragement for you is to schedule some margin. Make sure when you're doing this, you schedule space. Make sure things are not too stacked back to back, because you'll end up being selfish and you'll end up being self-absorbed. Here's another tip. The best benefit that I've found from this is not that I can just accomplish more. I know that's the point of this video, is to help you accomplish and achieve more and to get more done in less time. But here's the real benefit to this. If you are like me and you're a driven person that wakes up every day feeling like you're at a zero, I've got to accomplish things, I'm going to achieve them, and that makes the day successful. So a lot of us are wired that way. Internally, we're wired to need to accomplish something to feel like we're productive in a day. If you're like that, you can, like me, get to the end of the day and realize that there's so many things that you still didn't finish, that there's a to-do list that's still running that you didn't get to. And you can feel the stress and pressure that I'm supposed to be done with work for the day, and I'm supposed to be present with the people I care about, but I'm still thinking about the stuff I haven't finished yet. I'm still thinking about the stuff that I need to get done. And it actually can make it hard to sleep and make it hard to be present with the people you care about. And what I've found is when you prioritize, when you plan around those priorities, and when you perform that plan, and it actually gives you an opportunity to not only do more and accomplish more, but give yourself grace to shut off. Why is that? Because when you get to the end of your scheduled day and you've performed the plan, you've executed on your priorities, and you've accomplished what you committed to accomplish, once you now show up to the people around you, or you move on from your work day or what has been scheduled, instead of you carrying the stress around of, oh, I still got more to accomplish, I still got more to do, you can pause yourself and say, hey, that'll come tomorrow. I've done what I said I was going to do. I stuck to my commitments. I executed what I said I would do. And tomorrow I will do the same thing. And it allows you to give a stopping point and be present because you completed what you said you would do. And you actually got way more done, and you have now the ability to shut yourself off. And so the biggest grace I've been able to give myself with this system is once I perform the plan, once I execute on my priorities, I now have an ability to stop and say, hey, I'll get to that tomorrow. And the to-do list never ends, but I executed what I committed to today. And I hope it gives you that same grace. So if you are a leader who wants to accomplish more, get more done in less time, my challenge for you is to implement those three things. It's prioritize, it's plan, and it's perform. Try it. Let me know how it goes. Let me know in the comments if you found any of this valuable. And if you're a leader who wants to get some extra resources, extra guidance on this, we've got a daily podcast that we put out that gives tips like this, daily winning word of the day, that are shortened versions of this, to talk about mindset, time management, habits, and routines. The links to those podcasts are in the show notes below, and you can check those out if you want more value like this. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next week's episode.